My husband faked his death to escape gambling debts. He left me $500,000 in insurance money. Now I can't expose him without implicating myself. R/relationship_advice. I don't even know where to start. My hands are shaking as I type this. I'm in a hotel room in a city I won't name, and I haven't slept in 3 days. I need advice. I need someone to tell me I'm not losing my mind. I need someone to help me figure out what to do with this impossible situation. I'm 34F. 7 years ago, I buried my husband. Or at least I thought I did. Let me back up. I'm here on a business trip. I work in corporate consulting, and my company sent me to meet with a client in another state, about 1,200 miles from where I live. It was supposed to be routine. 3 days of meetings, presentations, handshakes, hotel dinners. I've done this 100 times. On my second night here, I went to a restaurant alone. Nothing fancy, just a place near my hotel with good reviews. I was tired, scrolling through my phone, waiting for my food, when I looked up and saw a man walking across the restaurant. Everything stopped. It was his walk. That specific gait, slightly favoring his right leg from an old basketball injury in college. The way he held his shoulders. The way he tilted his head when he was listening to someone. I felt like I'd been punched in the chest. I couldn't breathe. I told myself I was seeing things. I told myself grief does strange things to the mind, even years later. I told myself there are 7 billion people on this planet, and sometimes they look alike. But then he turned, and I saw his face. It was him. My husband. The man I married at 24. The man I mourned at 27. The man whose grave I visited every year on the anniversary of his death. He was alive. I don't remember paying for my food. I don't remember leaving money on the table. I just remember following him, staying far enough back that he wouldn't notice, close enough that I wouldn't lose him. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. He walked out of the restaurant with a woman. She was pretty, dark hair, maybe early 30s. She was laughing at something he said. He had his arm around her waist. That easy, comfortable intimacy that comes from years together. They got into a car in the parking lot. There were 2 children in the back seat. A boy and a girl, maybe 4 and 6 years old. The woman leaned over and kissed him. My husband. My dead husband. And then they drove away. I stood in that parking lot for 20 minutes. I couldn't move. I couldn't think. I just kept replaying what I'd seen, trying to find another explanation. A twin I didn't know about. A doppelganger. Some cosmic coincidence. But I knew. In my bones I knew. Let me tell you about my husband. Or the man I thought he was. We met in college. He was charming, funny, ambitious. Everyone loved him. He had this way of making you feel like you were the only person in the room. When he proposed after 3 years of dating, I thought I was the luckiest woman alive. We got married young. I was 24, he was 26. We had plans. Big plans. A house in the suburbs, kids, the whole package. He worked in finance. I was just starting my career in consulting. We were building something together. Then, 3 years into our marriage, he died. Car accident. He was driving home from a business trip late at night. Lost control on a wet road. The car went off an embankment and caught fire. By the time emergency services arrived, there wasn't much left. The body was identified through dental records and his wedding ring, which had somehow survived the fire. Closed casket funeral. His family stood beside me, crying. His mother couldn't stop screaming. I remember feeling like I was underwater, like everything was happening to someone else, and I was just watching. I collected his life insurance. $500,000. I didn't want it. I would have given every penny to have him back. But it was there, in my account, this awful blood money that I couldn't bring myself to spend for 2 years. I mourned him for 3 years. 3 years of therapy. 3 years of antidepressants. 3 years of nights where I couldn't get out of bed, where I stared at our wedding photos and begged the universe to let me wake up from this nightmare. I thought about joining him. I'm not proud of that, but it's true. Some days, the only thing that kept me alive was the thought that he would have wanted me to keep living. And he was alive. Building a new life. Being a father to someone else's children. While I was planning my own funeral in my head, he was changing diapers and going to Little League games and kissing another woman goodnight. I can't describe what that knowledge does to a person. It's not just betrayal. It's not just grief. It's like the ground has opened up beneath you and you're falling, and you realize you've been falling for 7 years without knowing it. I should tell you about my life now. Before all this, after years of therapy and healing, I finally started to rebuild. I met someone. A good man. Kind, patient, understanding. He knew about my history, knew I was a widow, knew I'd struggled. He never pushed. He just loved me. Quietly and consistently and without conditions. We've been together for 2 years. He proposed 6 months ago. I said yes. The wedding is planned for next spring. He doesn't know about any of this. He's back home, probably watching TV, texting me good night. He has no idea that his fiancée is in a hotel room, shaking, staring at a photograph on her phone of a dead man who isn't dead. Because I took photos. When my husband got out of that car with his new family, I took photos. I have evidence. I have proof that I'm not crazy. And now I have to decide what to do with it. Update 1, 3 weeks later, the investigation begins. I came home from that business trip a different person. My fiancé knew something was wrong immediately. I told him it was work stress. He believed me, or at least, he pretended to. He's good like that. He gives me space when I need it. But I couldn't let this go. I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw my husband's face in that parking lot. I saw his arm around another woman's waist. I saw those children in the back seat. I did something I never thought I'd do. I hired a private investigator. I found him through a recommendation from a lawyer friend, someone I trust, someone who asked no questions when I said I needed help with a personal matter. The PI is professional, discreet, experienced. He's worked fraud cases, infidelity cases, missing persons. He said my situation was unusual, but not unprecedented. I gave him everything I had. The photos from the restaurant. The city where I saw him. A description of the woman and children. My husband's real name, his date of birth, his social security number, everything I remembered about his life before he died. The PI called me back within a week. What he found was worse than anything I imagined. My husband didn't just fake his death. He planned it meticulously, over months. The car accident wasn't an accident, it was staged. He bought a vehicle from a salvage yard, had it towed to that remote stretch of road, and set it on fire with a body inside. Yes, a body. I don't know where he got it. The PI is still looking into that. But my husband put a corpse in that car. He put his wedding ring on its finger. He made sure the dental records would be too damaged to be conclusive, but that there would be enough evidence to close the case quickly. He did this because he had debts. Massive gambling debts. Over $300,000 owed to people who don't send polite collection letters, people who break kneecaps and worse. He'd been hiding it from me for years, apparently. Siphoning money from our accounts to make minimum payments, lying about business trips that were actually trips to casinos, living a double life long before he created his new identity. When the debts became unmanageable, when the threat started, he decided to disappear. He staged his own death, collected the insurance money through me, as the sole beneficiary, and vanished. The insurance policy was his gift to me. $500,000 to start over. His twisted way of making amends for the mess he'd made. He says he did it to save me from his debts. But he didn't save me. He destroyed me. And then he watched from a distance while I tried to put myself back together. He let me grieve. He let me fall apart. He let me consider ending my own life because the pain of losing him was too much to bear. And the whole time, he was alive. Starting fresh. Meeting someone new. Building the family we were supposed to have together, with someone else. Update 2, 6 weeks later. The full picture. The PI has given me his complete report. I've read it so many times the pages are starting to wear. Here's what I know now. My husband created a new identity approximately 6 months after his death. New name, new social security number, new everything. I don't know exactly how he did it. The PI says there are ways, especially if you have money and connections. Forged documents, stolen identities from deceased individuals, corrupt officials who can be bribed. It's more common than people think. He moved to another state. Got a job in sales, something completely different from finance. Met a woman at a church group, of all things. They dated for a year, got married, had 2 children. His new wife has no idea who he really is. She thinks she married a man with a simple background, parents deceased, no siblings, raised in a small town. She has no idea she's married to a man who's technically still married to someone else. She has no idea her husband is legally a bigamist. She has no idea the father of her children staged his own death and let another woman mourn him for 7 years. I've seen photos of her. Of them. The PI found their social media accounts. They look happy. Normal. A family photo at Christmas, the children in matching pajamas. A beach vacation, all four of them building sandcastles. Birthday parties, soccer games, Sunday dinners. They look like the life I was supposed to have. I've struggled with something since I learned all this. Something that makes me feel sick every time I think about it. I collected $500,000 in life insurance. That's fraud. Insurance fraud is a serious crime, federal crime, in some cases. If I expose him, I might be implicated. The insurance company will come after the money. They might press charges against me, even though I had no idea he was alive. Proving that I wasn't complicit will be difficult, expensive, and humiliating. He knew that. When he did this, he knew that I would be tied to his crime forever. He made me complicit without my knowledge. He made sure that exposing him would come at a cost to me too. I don't know if that was intentional, if he wanted to create a situation where I'd be forced to stay silent to protect myself. Or if he genuinely didn't think that far ahead, too focused on his own escape to consider the trap he was building around me. Either way, I'm caught. And I don't know how to get free. Update 3. 9 weeks later. The confrontation. I went back. I know, I shouldn't have. I should have waited for the PI to finish his investigation, consulted a lawyer, made a plan. But I couldn't. I was lying awake every night, replaying every moment of our marriage, every lie he told me, every time he looked me in the eyes and I believed him. I needed answers. I needed him to look at me and explain how he could do this. I flew back to that city on a Friday. I knew where he lived now. The PI had given me the address. A nice house in a nice neighborhood. A swing set in the backyard. A minivan in the driveway. I waited until his wife left with the children. Some kind of extracurricular activity, it looked like. And then I knocked on the door. He opened it, and I watched his face go through every emotion a human being can experience in about 3 seconds. Recognition. Confusion. Disbelief. And then, finally, pure, absolute terror. "Hello," I said. My voice was steady. "I don't know how. Miss me." He tried to close the door. I put my foot in it. "We need to talk," I said. "Inside. Unless you want your neighbors to hear everything I have to say." He let me in. His hands were shaking. He looked older than I remembered, grayer, more tired. But it was him. Unmistakably him. We sat in his living room. There were family photos on the mantel. His new wife. His new children. The life he built on the ashes of the one he destroyed. "How did you find me?" he asked. "Does it matter?" He was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "I didn't think you'd ever come looking. After all this time." "You're kidding," I said. "You fake your own death, let me grieve for 7 years, and you're surprised I came looking when I saw you at a restaurant with your new family." He flinched. "That was you. At the restaurant. That was me. Your widow. The woman who spent 3 years unable to get out of bed. The woman who almost killed herself because the grief was too much. Remember me." He broke down. I'd only seen him cry once before, at his father's funeral, and even then, it was controlled, dignified. This was different. This was ugly, desperate sobbing. The sound of a man watching his entire life collapse in front of him. "Please," he said. "Please, you don't understand. I did it for you. The debts, the people I owed money to, they would have come after you. They would have hurt you. I couldn't let that happen. I couldn't watch them destroy you because of my mistakes." "So you destroyed me yourself," I said. "Just in a different way. I gave you the money. The insurance. You gave me $500,000 and took my entire life. You let me grieve. You let me heal. You let me think you were dead while you were out here building a new family, having the children we were supposed to have, being the husband you were supposed to be, to someone else." He couldn't look at me. I thought you'd move on. Find someone else. Be happy. I thought if I just disappeared." "You didn't think," I said. "You ran. You took the coward's way out, and you told yourself it was noble because it hurt less than facing what you'd done." There was a long silence. I looked around the room. The toys in the corner. The crayon drawings on the refrigerator. The evidence of a life, a real life, that he'd built on a foundation of lies. "Please don't expose me," he said. His voice was barely a whisper. "Please. My children, they're innocent. My wife, she doesn't know. She thinks I'm a good man. Please don't destroy them to punish me." And that's when I felt something I didn't expect. Pity. Not for him. For them. His wife, who probably lay awake at night next to a man she thought she knew, trusting him completely. His children, who called him daddy and believed he would always protect them. They had no idea they were living inside a lie. "I haven't decided what I'm going to do," I said finally. "I came here for answers. I got them. Now I need to figure out what comes next." I stood up. He grabbed my wrist. "Please," he said again. "Whatever you decide, just know that I never stopped loving you. That's why I left. Because I loved you too much to drag you down with me." I pulled my arm away. "You loved me too much to drag me down," I repeated. "But not enough to stay. Not enough to face your problems. Not enough to let me decide for myself what I could handle." I walked out the door. He didn't follow. Update 4. 12 weeks later. The impossible choice. It's been 3 months since I first saw him in that restaurant. 3 months of investigation, discovery, confrontation, and sleepless nights. And I still don't know what to do. Let me lay out my options, because I've gone through them 1,000 times. Option 1. Expose him. I could go to the police. Insurance fraud. Bigamy. Falsifying death records. These are serious crimes. He could go to prison. His new wife would learn the truth. His children would learn their father isn't who they thought he was. But here's the problem. I collected that insurance money. I was the beneficiary. If I expose him, the insurance company will come after me. They'll want their $500,000 back. Money I spent years ago on therapy, on bills, on surviving. I don't have it anymore. And they might press charges against me, arguing that I was complicit. Even if I wasn't. Even if I prove I wasn't, my name will be dragged through the mud. My career could be destroyed. My relationship with my fiancé, would he stay with me through a federal investigation? Would he believe I wasn't involved? Option 2. Stay silent. I could walk away. Keep his secret. Let him live his new life with his new family. Move on with mine. But how do I do that? How do I marry my fiancé without telling him the truth, that my late husband isn't late at all? How do I get remarried knowing that, technically, my first marriage was never dissolved? Am I even legally allowed to marry someone else right now? And more than that, how do I live with the knowledge? How do I go to sleep every night knowing he's out there, happy, unpunished, while I spent years in agony because of his choices? Option 3. Confront him privately. Demand something. Money. Answers. A divorce, a real one, legally ending our marriage so I can move on. Closure. But what leverage do I have? He knows I'm implicated in the insurance fraud. He knows I have as much to lose as he does if this goes public. He could refuse to give me anything, betting that I'll stay silent to protect myself. Or he could panic. He could decide I'm a threat and do something desperate. I don't think he would hurt me. I don't think the man I married is capable of violence. But I also didn't think he was capable of faking his own death and letting me grieve for 7 years. Clearly, I don't know what he's capable of. Option 4. Tell his new wife. She deserves to know. Doesn't she? She married a man who doesn't exist. She had children with a man who has another wife in another state. Her entire life is built on a lie that isn't her fault, but a lie nonetheless. But if I tell her, everything falls apart. For her. For those children. They'll lose their father, not to death, but to betrayal. Is that justice? Or is that just spreading the damage, making more victims out of people who did nothing wrong? I've spent the last 3 months thinking about what he said. That he did it for me. That he loved me enough to die for me. In his twisted way, I think he believes that. I think he genuinely convinced himself that disappearing was an act of love. That giving me the insurance money was making amends. That freeing me from his debts was saving me. But here's what he doesn't understand, what he never understood. I would have helped him. If he'd told me about the gambling, about the debts, about the threats, I would have figured it out with him. I would have sold the house, gotten a second job, done whatever it took. Because that's what marriage is. That's what love is. You face things together, even when they're ugly, even when they're scary, even when there's no good solution. He didn't give me that chance. He decided, on his own, that I couldn't handle it. That I was better off without him. That his disappearance was a gift. He didn't save me. He took everything from me. My husband. My marriage. My future. My sanity. 3 years of my life, lost to grief that didn't need to exist. And now I have to figure out what to do with the wreckage. My fiancé asked me last night if everything was okay. He said I've seemed distant lately. Distracted. He asked if I was having second thoughts about the wedding. I told him I was just stressed about work. He believed me. Because he trusts me. Because he has no reason not to. I'm keeping a secret from him. A massive, life-altering secret. Every day I don't tell him is another day I'm building our relationship on a lie. Just like my husband built his new life on a lie. I hate that. I hate that I'm becoming something I despise. But how do I tell him? How do I say, remember my first husband, the one I told you died in a car accident? Well, funny story. What if he leaves? What if this is too much for him? What if he looks at me and sees damaged goods, a woman with too much baggage, a complication he didn't sign up for? What if I lose two men I love because of decisions I didn't make? Final update, where I am now. I don't have an ending for you. I wish I did. I wish I could tell you that I figured it out, that I found the right answer, that everything worked out in the end. But I'm still here. Still stuck. Still trying to figure out what justice looks like when every option comes with consequences. I spent 7 years grieving a ghost. Now I have to decide what to do with the zombie he's become. He loved me. In his broken, twisted, selfish way, I believe he loved me. He thought he was saving me. He thought disappearing was the kindest thing he could do. But love isn't just about intentions. It's about actions. It's about staying when things get hard. It's about trusting your partner enough to let them choose their own battles. It's about respecting someone enough to give them the truth, even when the truth is ugly. He didn't love me enough to stay. He loved his idea of protecting me more than he loved me as a person. And in trying to save me, he destroyed me in ways he'll never understand. So here I am. Asking strangers on the internet for advice. I should probably be asking a lawyer, a therapist, and my fiancé. What would you do? If you discovered that the person you mourned for years was alive and well, living a happy life while you struggled to survive? If exposing them meant potentially destroying yourself? If staying silent meant letting them win, letting them get away with it, letting them live happily ever after while you carry this knowledge forever? If there were innocent people, children, whose lives would be ruined if the truth came out? What would you do with a husband who loved you enough to die for you, but not enough to stay? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. And I'm running out of time to figure it out. My fiancé deserves to know before our wedding. His new wife deserves to know who she married. His children deserve... what? A father, even a lying one? Or the truth, even if it destroys them? I collected $500,000 from the life insurance company. That money is gone, spent on therapy, on bills, on building a new life. If the truth comes out, I'll have to answer for that. Even though I did nothing wrong. Even though I was a victim. He made me complicit. That's the cruelest part. He didn't just leave me, he made sure that exposing him would hurt me too. Whether he planned it that way or not, he built a trap around both of us. And now we're both stuck in it. I've thought about sending this to him. Letting him know that his secret isn't as safe as he thinks. That I haven't decided what to do yet, but that the clock is ticking. But what would that accomplish? He can't undo what he's done. He can't give me back the 7 years I lost. He can't ungrieve me, unbreak me, undestroy the person I was before he made me a widow. All he can do is beg. And I've already heard his excuses. I'm going to have to make a decision soon. I know that. I can't live in this limbo forever. It's eating me alive. But tonight, I'm just going to sit with this. With the impossibility of it. With the fact that there's no good answer, only less bad ones. Tomorrow, I'll start figuring out what comes next. Reddit, I need your help. What would you do? TLDR, my husband died in a car accident 7 years ago. Closed casket funeral, life insurance payout, years of grief. I just discovered he's alive, living in another state with a new wife and 2 children. He faked his death to escape gambling debts and gave me the insurance money as a parting gift. I collected $500,000 in insurance, which is fraud I could be implicated in if I expose him. His new wife and children have no idea. I'm now engaged to a wonderful man who doesn't know any of this. Do I expose my dead husband and potentially destroy myself? Stay silent and let him live happily? Something else? I'm paralyzed. Help. Here's the question I can't answer. What do you do with a husband who loved you enough to die for you, but not enough to stay? I buried him 7 years ago. Closed casket funeral. $500,000 life insurance. 3 years of grief so heavy I couldn't get out of bed. 3 years of therapy. 3 years of antidepressants. Days when I thought about joining him. And he was alive. Building a new life. Being a father to someone else's children. I saw him at a restaurant, 1,200 miles from home. Same walk. Same gestures. Same face. He had his arm around another woman. 2 children in the back seat of their car. I hired a PI. The truth was worse than I imagined. He faked his death. Staged the accident. Put a body in that car. All because he had $300,000 in gambling debts to dangerous people. The insurance money was his gift to me. His twisted way of making amends. He says he did it to save me from his debts. But he didn't save me. He destroyed me. And then he watched from a distance while I tried to put myself back together. He remarried. Bigamy. We're still legally married. His new wife thinks he's a good man. His children call him daddy. They have no idea. I collected $500,000 in life insurance. That's fraud. If I expose him, I might be implicated. He made me complicit without my knowledge. He built a trap around both of us. Exposing him means potentially destroying myself. I confronted him. He cried. He begged me not to tell. He said he never stopped loving me. But love isn't just intentions. It's actions. It's staying when things get hard. It's trusting your partner enough to let them choose their own battles. He didn't give me that chance. He decided I couldn't handle it. He decided disappearing was a gift. I would have helped him. I would have sold the house, gotten a second job, done whatever it took. Because that's what marriage is. You face things together. Now I'm engaged to a wonderful man who doesn't know any of this. His new wife doesn't know who she married. His children don't know their father is a lie. Do I expose him and destroy myself? Stay silent and let him win? Tell his wife and shatter those children's lives? I spent 7 years grieving a ghost. Now I have to decide what to do with the zombie he's become. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. What would you do?